Hello everyone, and welcome to my new AuthorTube channel. New author on AuthorTube alert. It's going to be great. Take a seat, I'm glad you're here. So, let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm Danny, and I am a soon-to-be new published author. I have written one book. I'm currently in the process of writing my second one. My first book is called A List of Reasons Why. It will be coming out on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited and KDP on August 1st of 2026. So a little bit more than a month and a half or so away. So I'm really excited and looking forward to that. I am writing a second book that will be in the same series as A List of Reasons Why. The name of the series is called Persevering Hearts. So a little bit about me. I live in southern Indiana, just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky. I was born in Louisville and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, and graduated high school down there and lived there for a good chunk of my life. I've been back up in this part of the country for about, 12 years, 13 years. It's been a while. It's been since 2012, so been quite a while. But that is where I currently live. My birthday is on November the 6th. Shout out to my Scorpio crowd. And a little bit more about me. I have a wonderful dog, 2.5 years old. He is a long-haired Chihuahua. His name is Pepe. He is my chief editor. And he is also going to be an unpaid actor in these videos. And there's nothing I can do about that. If he has something to say, he's going to have something to say. And we're just going to let him be his true, authentic self. Okay, now, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the other interests I have. So, I mainly write. That's what I've spent a lot of my free time doing. But I also have other hobbies as well. I play piano. I'm an aviation geek, or av geek for short. So, I have a gaming computer in another room in my home that I play Flight Simulator on. I also love to cook, and I love to travel. Of course, that kind of goes with the aviation thing and all that good stuff. Talk a little bit about what I write. So far, I write what I would refer to as contemporary fiction, often featuring LGBTQ characters and themes. So like there could be some themes of romance, grief, coming of age, coming out, chosen family, maybe some friends to lover trope as well. My first book is coming out. That's definitely more of a romance and coming to age type deal. And then my second book is a lot more leaning into the contemporary fiction side of things. Found family, a little bit of a women's fiction aim in my second book as well. And again, the second book is in the same series as the first. So that's kind of what I'm going for, just more LGBTQ contemporary fiction. I'm not going to box myself into a genre of, I only write romance or I only write women's fiction. There's, whatever idea that I have is kind of what I'm going with. I just kind of write what's on my mind. So I like to think about, what are my characters doing? What issues are they struggling with? And how are they going to get out of those? How are they going to fix those issues and become better for it on the other side? That tends to be what I ask myself and what I want to explore in my writing. I've been asked this question before, like, where would my book or books, where on the shelf at Barnes & Noble would they fit? I'm not necessarily sure how to answer that most of the time, and I'm not interested in answering that, honestly. I just want to write what I want to write. I want to write what I'm feeling passionate about in that moment. And right now, what I'm feeling passionate about is solving some problems between some characters that are both in my first book and in my second book of the Persevering Heart series. If there is going to be anything in common in everything I write, is that there will be LGBTQ characters. I'm LGBTQ myself. I identify as a gay man. And that's also what I like to read. I like reading stories with LGBTQ characters. I feel like I can relate to those characters, and I want to see how they conduct themselves and how they interact with others in their world and in their lives. And I just also want to provide more representation for our lovely LGBTQ community that I love so much. So that's what I tend to write. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why I'm making this channel. So for a while, I've been looking for content myself on YouTube, looking for writers or authors who show more of the nitty-gritty aspect of writing. Writing is a very involved process. It's a very isolating process as well. It is defined by sitting in front of the keyboard, endlessly drafting, endlessly plotting and planning and figuring out how you're going to solve a problem that you're having. Maybe you're stuck in a scene, or maybe you think that the character is going to do this when presented with this problem or this situation, but the character in your head is actually saying, no, I would actually do this. And now you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, but I outlined to do this, but the character doesn't want to do that. So now my whole outline is complete waste, and now I have to go back and re-outline everything. I want to capture all of those struggles. Talking about outlines, I consider myself more of like a plantser. So that's going to be someone who is the plotter, but also is a pantser. Another word for pantser also is a discovery writer. I am definitely more of a discovery writer, I guess, but I'm not a full-on pantser. I can't just sit and write and then go with it. I can do that for a little bit, and then I have to stop and be like, well, where am I going with this? So I have to have a little bit of structure. So I have like a very basic outline, or I come up with a very basic outline for my story that I'm going to write, my novel. And that outline is very flexible. So what I'll do is I'll come up with my outline for the chapter, the overall premise, that sort of thing that I'm shooting for. And then I'll go in and I'll start drafting. I may or may not have an outline-ish for the chapter that I'm drafting. I may just know, well, I know that I have this goal for this chapter that I need to be. And then we just figure out where are we going to start and how do we get there, sort of thing. And so I'll start drafting, and then along the way, I'll just be feeling something else go on for the character. So, for example, like I may think that this character is going to go to a park and meet somebody at that park who is supposed to be an important friend and later on in the story, like an important character. But maybe for whatever reason, I decide that, well, maybe they go to the park on their own and then they meet this person at a cafe. For whatever reason, maybe because like, oh, well, the cafe would be more of an intimate setting, and that's more like the personality of this other character that they would be at a coffee shop versus a park, stuff like that. Basically, I'm making this channel because nobody else is really showing the nitty gritty of the writing. They're like doing it, maybe vlogging some milestones and talking about it after the fact. I want to actually show what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, my full process, transparently, in real time, as I'm doing it. That is why I am making this channel. I have not really seen anybody else do that in like a video format. So I figured, well, I can just make the content then. I can do that. So that's what I'm going to do. And plus that aligns more with my personality. My personality is not someone who wants to vlog it out and wants to do all this fancy editing and do all these other vlog type videos that you would see on AuthorTube. So, I'm not necessarily going to make, videos about, this is what I accomplished writing today, or, the 10 things I learned self-publishing my first book, 5 things I wish somebody had told me. I'm not going to do content like that because literally and truly, like, I've just figured out a lot of it as I've gone and watched a ton of content. And the conclusion I came to is I got to figure it out on my own, what works for me, because what works for anybody else is probably not going to work for me. It's all been trial and error. I've always been a trial and error person. So that's why I'm making this channel. I want you to come along with me as I figure out what I'm doing with all of my lovely characters and all of my lovely chapters. So I want to set a few expectations for what you can expect on videos. So again, the plan for my videos, I'm not going to heavily edit these videos. This one might get a little bit more edited because this is, I've kind of planned this out. This is structured. Whereas if I'm just recording me writing, that is raw, real time. Not going to have a lot of editing, not going to have a lot of music. I'm going to be constantly engaging, but this is not a vlog style channel. This is definitely more of a video diary of me in real time writing, because I know future me would absolutely want to go back and look at my prior, I guess, struggles and triumphs and whatever with past writing. I wish I had done that for my first book. I would love to have seen like a compilation of me writing my first book. That would have been fun, maybe slightly traumatic to go back and watch. So that's why I'm making this channel. Really quickly, let me talk about my writing process in a nutshell. I write on this lovely MacBook Air right over here. You can't really see it. Well, there you can. Right here. Lovely MacBook Air. I have another monitor here that's connected to this MacBook. I have my Keychron keyboard here, my lovely Apple mouse. I write in Scrivener, so if you're familiar with the word processing softwares out there, Scrivener 3 has got my heart. My first book, I actually first drafted it in Word, and then I went back and put it in Scrivener after I decided to give Scrivener a try and, make the plunge and get it installed. And I did all the editing of my first book in Scrivener. And now I am solely in Scrivener. I do not deal with Microsoft Word at all anymore, unless I need to create a Word document to upload my manuscript into my book formatting software, which is Vellum, which is amazing. I do want to disclose that I do use ChatGPT in my writing process. It is a tool and partner in my process. I do not use generative AI to write my prose. All of my prose is uniquely mine and in my voice. In these videos, you will see how I interact with ChatGPT as part of my writing process. This channel will not entertain any debate about AI usage in the writing process. That is a boundary that I'm setting, and that is a debate that will not be discussed. I would appreciate if you would respect that boundary. Again, if you have concerns, you can watch my videos and you can see in real time how I am utilizing AI in my writing process. Last thing I want to mention is I thank you so much for being here. If you've made it this far, then welcome. You were absolutely a rock star and absolutely awesome for staying with me. If you've liked what you've seen today, I want you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I post a new video. If there's anything I can promise is if I'm writing, I will be recording. I'm not going to commit to a specific schedule. I do have a day job. I do tend to write after my day job, but sometimes I just want to take a break and do other things too. But if I'm writing, I am recording. A couple of last things for socials. I do have an author Instagram account. I also have a Substack, which will be a natural extension of this channel. I will also be using my Substack for my author newsletter. If you would like to check my Instagram or my author Substack, the links for those socials will be in the description box below. So again, my first book, A List of Reasons Why, coming out on August 1st. Amazon, KDP, will be enrolled in Kindle Unlimited as well. It will be available in ebook and paperback format. Excuse me. I am currently halfway through writing my second book. It does have a title, but I will share that at a later date with you. Again, links in the description box below for my Instagram and Substack. Thanks for taking a seat with me. I'm so glad you're here. I will see you on the next one.